It actually made a lot of tar. Far more than the pine tar I made actually in the first batch. Like I said, a couple of years, 3 years ago I think. That's thick, a little bit thicker than I wanted, but that probably means very little turpentine and more resin. Wow, yeah, that's a lot. That was actually not a fail. That's good. Still need a tighter lid on that, or a different pail with a tighter lid so it doesn't catch fire and it burns a little bit slower. It could have had a cooler fire too. Anyway, that's I think what I'll do is thin that down maybe with some pine tar, or a thinner batch of birch tar. think I'll finish cutting this stuff up off camera and get it all hung and tarped over, so that the smoke continues to flavor and dry out this bear meat. So the reason I'm doing this is that the temperature is going up to 10 degrees or 8 degrees Celsius tomorrow, and it stays warm all week, below freezing at night, but the daytime temperatures are getting up above zero now. So that's going to do a couple things. One is that the sap is going to start running tomorrow, likely here, and I know it has by all reports in other places south of here and at lower elevations. Then the other thing is, though, my sort of outdoor freezer I didn't finish as you saw in the fall. All I did was dig a sort of a shallow hole, put the garbage can, steel garbage can or bin sort of in that little hole, filled all the frozen meat into that, and then after leaving it out to freeze, and then just covered it in the straw bales. Well, that worked pretty good, but we didn't get a really cold winter, so there was times that the top layer was starting to thaw out, so we would eat that first. But now I'm just a little bit nervous that the temperatures stay up and all this the rest of the bear meat spoils. So what I'm doing is turning it into jerky. So I'm cutting it into thin strips, I'm smoking it, salting it, smoking it, drying it out completely. Problem with bear meat is that it has to be cooked to a high temperature in order to kill trichinosis, the larvae that can be in the meat. So what I'll do with it is I'll crumble it and just put it into other dishes like beans or soups and stuff like that, and can rehydrate it. But point being that it has to be cooked thoroughly still, even though it's dehydrated. So like I said, you don't eat it like jerky. Also, I'll make sure that I cook it every time before I eat it. So that birch tar ended up turning out pretty well. I was surprised when I saw all this smoke coming out of the tin, all the black smoke that was in the fire. I thought for sure all of the birch bark, including the oils, were burning, and that none of that oil was going to render out into the can below. So when I pulled that off the fire, usually you would leave the fire and let it cool completely so it's safe and that you don't introduce oxygen to the bottom can, because that can ignite. But I thought it was not working, so I pulled it all off, looked in the can, and actually had far more oil than I've ever gotten out of a batch of pine tar. So I was happy about that. I'm going to use that for all kinds of different things. It's got medicinal properties, so I'll put it on this little tiny scratch that everybody was commenting on in the last video. I don't know, to answer your question, what it was. It probably just touched it off the bark or something. It was nothing, just a surface scratch. But anyway, I'll put that on there and it'll act as an antiseptic. I can make soap out of it. I can use it to condition leather. I can use it as a glue. It's actually, that's getting quite thick and actually would make a very good glue. And I can use it for what I plan on mostly using it for actually is bug repellent. I've heard mixed reports about it. I think it'll work fine for me. I'll see if my wife, if it works for her and whether she'll even want that smell on her. But Mike Ranta, if you know Mike, he's a Canadian canoe paddler who lives up in Killarney, and he's paddled across Canada a couple of times over the last few years. And so obviously canoeing across Canada all summer long or all season long, he ends up encountering a lot of bugs, a lot of biting insects. And he uses it, I think, exclusively as the only bug repellent. And he's got a cool birch bark hat as well, actually. If you haven't met Mike, he's living up in Killarney right now. You might want to go visit him. He's actually building the largest canoe paddle in the world. I went and saw him in the fall when we were up exploring and hiking the area. So we stopped in and saw Mike and saw the paddle that he was working on. It was really cool. So hopefully he'll finish that soon and I can go and show you final footage of that. But anyway, I thought that he's a pretty good indicator of how well that works, this birch tar or birch oil for as a bug repellent. So like I said, that's the main reason I'm using it or making it. So I'm going to make a couple more batches, hopefully get a full gallon of it. Anyway, I'm going to shut the video down, like I said, so I can get the rest of this bear meat cooked or dried out. It's going to take probably 2 days. We've got warm weather and sunshine tomorrow and wind, so that's really going to help dry it out quicker. And then I'll get it stored in some glass mason jars until I'm ready to use it. It's that time of year where I have to start getting fresh stuff, fresh food, so probably start counting on fish a little bit more, and a little bit of small game that's still open. So you want to tune in back tomorrow. I might even go canoeing. I'm talking to somebody about meeting up on a nearby river and going for a short canoe trip, like a few hour paddle, just for something a little bit different. Starting to get the itch. Spring is coming, and I'm just wasn't a hard winter, but I'm just done with it. I'm ready to do some different things, so excited about that. So thanks for your patience, and thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you up the cabin next time. Take care.